Lawyer Liborous Oshoma is my guest this morning. Thank you so much for staying the course on the program. Very interesting development. We now have the first female speaker for the Lagos House of Assembly. What does this mean for, the female folk, especially when we consider how much impact they've made politically in our history as a nation? So the conversation is rife in between. If this man wasn't impeached, we wouldn't have the first female speaker. For instance, we are yet to have the first democratically elected female governor in Nigeria. The last time it happened, somebody was asked to go and then they stood in the stead. Is this the pathway for women to emerge? Have we accepted it as a norm?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, you remember when Bola Ahmed Tinubu was governor, he had a female as deputy and she was impeached, and a male was nominated as deputy, Femi Pedro. And Fashola had two female deputies, Sarah Shosan and Akinfi Lure also. And then Ambode had a female deputy, and Sanwo-Olu now has a male deputy. One would have expected that from that 2019, that having two male, it's governor and deputy, that there would be a female, deputy. But because, if you remember at that time, the then former speaker, Eshiloku was former speaker. I think subsequently, it was this last election that he went to the Senate. One would have expected that since Obasa didn't go to the Senate, so there was no position. He was speaker even before the emergence of Sanwo-Olu. So I think that also affected him. He thought, look, I've been here before this man, even though the governor was commissioner even before, he became speaker. So, but you find out that the position of speakership is zoning, really. It has little or no bearing with the fact whether the acceptance of the wise of, female participation. But that does not mean, we should de-emphasize their influence and how well they've been able to showcase leadership.
Hold that thought for a minute. Just a minute, Mr. Oshoma. Let's take George's call from Ikeja. Good morning, Mr. George. Mr. George, are you there? All right, we'll get back to that conversation. When you're calling in, please turn down the volume of your TV so we can speak directly over the phone. Please go ahead. We had
this woman, Tejosho, who was a member, very vociferous member, Fumi Tejosho of the Lagos State House of Assembly. And we've had, very strong women leaders in Lagos. Abike Dabiri-Erewa is one of them. The former two deputy speakers, two deputy governors I mentioned, including Sarah Shosan, who was very mobile and very visible during her tenure as deputy governor. Even Idiata Debule, who's now a senator, also. And then Remi Tinubu is also a woman leader in Lagos. So you can't, take away their influence and their mark in as far as Lagos politics is concerned. But it is still heavily patriarchal. Indeed. And so the men still call the shots.
All of the names.
But the good thing about all of this is that in Yoruba land, there is that position that from time immemorial, the office of Iyaloja, Iyalode, has always been there. So women have always been recognized in the place of politics. So if someday a woman becomes governor, it will just be like normal thing.
There's a long list of those that have been touted to be governor. They're all men. But in the spirit of, the big surprise, perhaps a female underdog can emerge in 2027.
Yes,
it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. Like, that's why I said, for the Lagos leadership, keep you guessing until it becomes obvious. And once they select, everybody knows this is the place they're going to.
But some say 2027 might be a little bit quite more competitive based on what we saw in the last election. But we'll talk about that shortly. Let's get back to Mr. George. Good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
And good morning to Liborous.
Good morning, Mr. George.
Listen, I'm talking from the perspective of an observer, observing from a distance. I am particularly surprised that the speaker could last this long on that seat. If you watch the video of just this event they organized recently, this Thanksgiving prayer session, they organized it, a few days ago. I was just asking myself, what is going on? Is it that the speaker is superior to the governor? He came in, he strode in when they were actually in a prayer session. Somebody was praying. You will run back the video and watch it. And he essentially disrupted it by going to different people, shaking hands with them. He's supposed to be on seat before the governor comes in. And in other cases I have seen him in public housing, he comes after the governor has already arrived. That is not the right protocol. And for me, it looks like he's lucky. Lagos has what they call Governing Advisory Council.
Yeah.
No speaker in other states can do what the speaker has been doing. Governor is commissioners are going to work with the governor. They are not coming to work with the speaker. So if the governor says this is the person I'm nominating, no matter what process is about, it is not left for the speaker to say, it's nothing to you, it's nothing to do because it didn't come from me. They're not coming to work with the speaker, they're coming to work with the governor. That's what the law says. But consultation is something else. So what I saw in that speaker confirmation imbroglio was just an attempt to frustrate. An attempt to frustrate is not allowed in a state like Lagos. I do not see Obasa returning to that house in 2027.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution. Well, that won't be a big deal for him. He's been representing Agege since, God knows when, 18 years thereabout. But unlike when, impeachments or removals like this happen, you see that the public are usually divided into opposing views. I haven't heard quite much from those who have supported this former speaker.
Yeah, because its attitude is very, conspicuous, visible to the blind, or is even his words audible to the deaf. And if you understand the trajectory of speakership in other states, where the speakership is at the behest of the governor, then you would begin to wonder what's happening. It's not as if this attitude is for the interests of the masses, and that there were certain things that the government was doing that, the speaker or the house is not, amenable to, or that they do not like, and so they're speaking on behalf of the masses. It's like in-house. And so that's why a lot of people are like, oh, look, you as a politician, understanding how you got to that position, understanding where you are coming from, you should have played better politics. And then, for a lot of people who also are not happy with APC style of politics, they're like, well, then, one down, more to go. Good riddance to bad rubbish. So that's why the voices that you're hearing, including his close associates, believe that he ought to have managed this, in a far better way.
I mean, you hear people say, I like him, I worked with him, but I did not agree with him on things like this. So what do you foresee to be the future of the relationship between the executive and his legislature under this new speaker? She's promised an open door policy to work for the people.
Certainly. She's a third-time member of the House, They always come from local government. Obasa was a councillor and then became a member of the House. She also was an aide at the local government in Apapa. And then now she's not ambitious. She's not intending to become governor, even though in Lagos anything can happen. They might say, okay, look, we kept you there so that you can learn the rope, come and be. I told you, you don't be until they say come and be. So she's not ambitious. She's new in the position. Also, she would want to, she's bringing an experience because Obasa was at the same position she is now when he became speaker. So whatever experience he has today, he learned on the job. So she also is coming with that experience and would also want to have that robust relationship with the executive, considering the fact that it is that relationship that led to the ouster of her former boss. And for Obasa, having been a speaker whose words were laws, even though you are first among equals, calling the shots, you had the yam and the knife, you divide, and now becoming an honorary floor member, and to your former deputy. I don't think you want to even come into the house to sit.
By the way, all the committees have been
dissolved.
Chidi has called in from Kafanta. Hi, Chidi. Good morning.
Good morning, Nifemi.
Good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, good morning, Liborous. I must say a very happy New Year to you both.
Thank you, Chidi. Good morning and happy New Year too.
We are indeed following the political intrigues as it plays out in Lagos State, which is a microcosm of Nigeria. The way and the easy manner the former speaker has been eased out of office shows that the APC as a political party has their own style of politicking. As you rightly said earlier, Barrister, if it were to be in the days of the PDP, they may have given him a slap on the wrist and allow him to continue. But I still want to believe that Obasa is still ambitious, and maybe with time, there is going to be a place where the owners of APC will still place him. So he should not cry as though he has lost all hopes. He will have to continue as the assemblyman that he has been for the past 10 years. I wish the newly elected speaker, which is a woman in the history of Lagos State, I wish her the best in office, and I wish Obasa himself the best in his future endeavors. Thank you so very much, and
thank you so much,
Lagos State and Nigeria as a whole.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in. So she's also from a royal family. I learned that she's a sister to Oniru.
Yeah.
I don't know how you think this works. Do you think that we're looking at a tenor of, I have learned from how my predecessor fell, and now my colleagues come around, let us have this conversation.
In Lagos, like I said, even becoming an Oba must be sanctioned by, some powers. So you don't just jump from somewhere. Look at what's happening in Ife, for example. And it would also have been out of place having a deputy, and then to carry everybody along and then to give all of them, including the deputy who has been loyal, a sense of belonging. It would have been out of place to impeach a speaker and then the deputy and bring somebody, when the deputy, if you're talking about mismanagement and high-handedness and the deputy, there are no such allegation against her. So it would have been out of place to skip her and then appoint somebody else as speaker. So they just moved the hierarchy. So let the chief whip become the new deputy, the former deputy become the speaker. So she would have, but in politics you never can tell. One would have also expected that Obasa, who was, I think he was in the house when Jokotolak Belumi was impeached to pave way for Ekufuriji. Okay. One would have expected that he would learn from all of those events. But, politics, power corrupt and absolute power corrupt, absolutely. So maybe this first few weeks or months or years, we should use it to learn the ropes. So after some time, then you now hear people whispering to her that, look, you have the power to go to, come and go. And, hangers on. Yes. I tell people the most dangerous people to associate with are not people in power, but those around the corridors of power, because they are friends to power. Once you leave, your phone will stop ringing, and then they become friends to the next person. So they can tell you that, you are a god. And then if you also have that kind of ambition and that kind of arrogance, you begin to see yourself in that light.
Usually that's the problem if you don't learn your lessons.
That's the same thing. Those are the same people that are blowing whistles for Seyi Tinubu now. Don't worry. Some people believe that this impeachment was because of Seyi Tinubu, and I completely, would disagree with that, because I haven't been a political observer since 1999 in Lagos. So I know Lagos is not. Seyi is an ambitious young man. He can decide to want to contest the presidency with his father. It's his right. But in Lagos, people don't just wake up and say, I want to be. So there are people who believe, this is our friend, is their man, and they believe he has the financial muscles and he can be. But the powers that be is the president, might be the leader, but he's answerable to some persons that you don't see and you don't hear.
I want to comment on that, but I'll reserve my comment until when I've gathered